Hey, courageous school leaders. Welcome to Lead Beyond Limits, the space where school leaders like you gain unfiltered insights from educators, uncover the hidden barriers holding your staff back, and get practical strategies to lead with confidence. If you're ready to tackle the real challenges in your schools and create the clarity your team needs to thrive, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and get to work.
Hello, courageous leaders. Welcome back to Lead Beyond Limits. My name is Dr. Demia Thomas, and I'm so glad that you're here and you've been following along for December, October, December, through December. We've been talking a lot about clarity in leadership. And so today I want to continue on that road. And so let me just paint a picture for you first, right? So I want to talk about, just so that you have an idea, two leaders that start the week with the same goals, right? They start the week with the same goals, the same data, the same challenges, but their weeks end completely differently. And why is that? Right? Because strong leaders don't start Monday reacting to the building. They actually start Monday by grounding the building, right? And a lot of us as leaders do that when we send our Sunday emails to our leadership team and things of that nature. We're doing that so that we can ground the building and the focus for the week, right? Most leaders don't have a Monday routine. I know I didn't at first. I didn't realize that until more time in that role. I have more like a Monday collision. Everything just happened at once. So today I'm going to show you what strong leaders do differently and why Monday is the anchor for the entire week. Okay? So take a look at this. Leader A. Let's take a look at Leader A. This is 2 Mondays. So Leader A, 7:25, opens, her inbox, just for 1 minute. I've done this before, right? 7 new emails or more. If 7 new emails is good. Usually it's like 20 new emails. So new emails, one's really urgent. She starts answering them all, right? Instead of actually leading in her building. At 7:45, she sends a quick text to her APs, we'll figure out the plan later. There's no alignment. It's just updates. That's what she's texting them. Okay. At 8:10, a parent is waiting, which is usually the case. And this happens to all leaders, right? So she jumps in without any clarity on like what the situation is, on what the building needs to get moving for the building, not the parent, but the building, because the building is holding hundreds of kids. The parent is one person. So you see the difference there? Okay, at 8:30, a student situation will pull her into the hallway. Now she's reacting to urgency instead of reinforcing expectations. I see this so much in school buildings right now. At 9:00, the walkthrough she had scheduled for Monday has been pushed to Tuesday because the morning has gotten away from her and she has other things that she has to do. By 10:00, her PLC is pushed to later, but it's never rescheduled with any kind of intention, right? So think about this. By Wednesday, the entire week is going to feel like a blur for this leader. Everyone is still guessing. The focus and the foundation hasn't been set, right? And the thing is that nobody is sure what matters most anymore if that leader is reacting to everything that's happening. So let's take a look at Leader B, right? So she sees the same inbox when she walks in, the same number of emails, the same level of urgency. But instead of answering them, she scans for one thing. And here's the question. Is anything here mission critical for the next 2 hours, right? If not, they wait. By 7:45, now she's same thing, same day. She's texting her APs for not with updates, but alignment. Here are the 3 focus points for the week. Protect these. Distinct difference in that text and in that message that's being sent, right? By 8:10, the same parent shows up. But leader B doesn't abandon the morning and what the building needs. She greets the parent and she sets a clear boundary. I want to give you my full attention. Can we meet at 9:30? My team is aligning for the day. Right? So you're not getting pulled away from the priority, which is your building. The parent feels respected because he or she feels heard. And the leader, as a leader, you will stay in rhythm now. Take a look at this. By 8:30, the same student situation happens in the hallway. But now you, as the leader responds with alignment in mind, asking questions, right? What expectation wasn't clear here? Which adult needs support? Like, who is the person that student should go to before coming to you? Right? So she's going to treat that moment as data, because that's what it is. It's not disruption, it's data. It can disrupt your day if you allow it to, but you're taking that time to gather it as a piece of data. So by 9 o'clock, because she's done all of the things beforehand, walkthroughs begin on time. Right? Because now leader B didn't let the morning pull her off track, off of the priority. And by 10 o'clock, the PLC happens because the team walked into the week already aligned. So now, this leader by Wednesday, what do you think happens by Wednesday? The building is going to feel more steady. Even though the work is still hard, not negating that, the work is still hard. People follow through because they know what the week is anchored around. And the rhythm that leader B sets on Monday ripples throughout the building for the rest of the week. Okay? So, like, why does this even matter? Most weeks collapse because leaders know the goals, but they don't know the non-negotiable, right? A goal can be important. A protected priority is untouchable. And therein lies the difference. Once I learned this as a school leader, that's when my school started rocking and rolling with the data. Okay? This question this question forces the leadership team to acknowledge a couple of things, right? It forces them to acknowledge what matters most, what must stay steady, what cannot be interrupted at all, save time, protected time, what cannot be delayed, and what must remain visible in every conversation. The power of one. Because when everything is a priority, I say this all the time, nothing is protected. And so the truth here is that your team doesn't need more direction. They need to know what will not move no matter how loud or chaotic the week gets. And it does get chaotic. We all know this, right? We know as school leaders how crazy the week can be. So let's establish. I used to say to my leadership team, our North Star. What is our North Star? So you have to establish a North Star statement or goal, or you should, not that you have to, you should, so that it keeps everyone in focus, especially by having it ready by Monday before your school day starts. For us, our North Star was kids first, always. What's in the best interest of kids, period. If something came up that didn't address that, it was pushed to the side, right? So I'm saying it's something simple. It's not a plan. It's not a document, a statement. So one statement that every adult in the building will recognize by Friday. What is it? So for me, it was, is this in the best interest of kids? For me, that was a question, right? To act as a pulse check. Some examples of some statements could be, we're protecting the standards that we select this week. The standard, remember the power of one. The standard we selected this week. Another example could be, we're protecting feedback alignment. right? Another example could be we're protecting transitions, making sure transitions are smooth and kids are getting where they need to be safely. It's a flag in the ground, right? And it gives your team permission to ignore noise, right? So here's what I need you to think about right now. And hit me in the comments. How is this resonating with you? Do you see yourself being leader A, leader B, maybe a combination of both? Hit it in the comments right now and let me know you know, is this a reflection of you in some way, shape, or form? So here's a question that I need you to consider. Where did your team drift last week? I need you to ask yourself that question, right? This question is the continuation of what was discussed on November 24th's Lead Beyond Limits. But this time, the focus is on team alignment, not leader clarity. So here's the distinction that I want to really make clear for you. A clarity leak is when adults misunderstood you. A drift is when adults misunderstand each other. Okay, so a drift can show up when one AP gave different feedback from another. That is huge, right? A drift can show up when teachers heard different interpretations of the priority. Again, one band, one sound. That was a statement that we held as a leadership team when I was a principal. One band, one sound. You went to any one of us on the team, you would get the same, pretty much the same response, right? Another example of a drift where it can show up is when one team grade got the message, when not team grade, but one grade team, got the message and another one didn't, right? It can also show up when someone shifted focus midweek because the stake in the ground, the flag in the ground really wasn't clear, right? Also, when mixed signals create unnecessary work. So drift is dangerous because it looks like momentum until you realize everyone is running around in different directions. So identifying drift on Monday is leadership prevention, right? We want to get out of reaction mode as school leaders. So when you identify the drift on Monday, it's going to keep Thursday from becoming a correction, right? Like you're putting out fires. Okay. So think about that question. The next thing is, when you discover where you went drifting last week, I need you to name the one misunderstanding that did the most damage. And again, let me just put a pin here. You should, if you have it, your clarity and confidence guide to help you think through these, to jot these notes down. So once you think about that drift last week, name the misunderstanding that did the most damage. Not all of them. Remember the power of one. Name the biggest one. Right? This will force force you to choose the misalignment that matters the most because it's the biggest one. So we drifted on what feedback to prioritize. We drifted on hallway expectations. We drifted on the one anchor standard. We drifted on how to support teachers, right? This requires you to set time aside every week to collect your data and take a look at it to see where you drifted. Catch the leaks. So naming the one drift cleans up the entire week. It sets the stage for you to be proactive. So a team that corrects drift on Monday can prevent chaos on Thursday. Right? Another question that I have for you that I need you to reflect on is, what message will the building feel by lunch? By lunchtime. right? Leadership presence is felt before it is understood. You know how sometimes you're in a room and somebody walks in and you can feel their presence as they enter the room, right? That is you. You, as a leader, have leadership presence. So it's felt before anyone understands your focus, your goals, your priorities, any of those things. Buildings will absorb your leadership energy through your tone, through your pace, through your clarity, through your consistency, through your visibility, through your confidence. All of those things are absorbed. So the first hours, the first 4 hours on a Monday will shape whether students feel safe, whether teachers feel supported, whether APs feel aligned, your leadership team feels aligned, whether the instructional focus is actually holding, is going to hold, whether the culture will settle or it scatters, right? Those first 4 hours of your week are going to be absorbed by everyone in your building. So schools don't follow what leaders post, what you send in emails and things of that nature. They will follow what you project, your energy, what they see, because you're actually modeling for them, right? So this question actually is going to force you to design the emotional temperature of the building on purpose. Okay? Let me know what you're thinking about this right now. Drop something in the comments. How is this resonating with you? Is it helping you think about how to go about your week this week? My goal for you is to take some time right after this session to think about last week, to think about how, because today is Monday, so think about how you set the tone for today, how you set the tone today for this week. Okay. So one way that you can achieve the goal here, um, of the questions that I asked, is I need you to choose. Actually, you can do this after this session. Choose the one feeling, power of one, the building should experience by lunchtime. So some examples can be calm, right? Like we're settled and steady. Another example could be, urgency with direction. We're moving with purpose and not chaos. Alignment, we're on the same page today. Everyone's in sync, one band, one sound. Confidence, right? Your leadership presence is clear and you're present. Okay. Once that feeling is named, every Monday action becomes intentional. The key here is you being consistent with that Monday action, right? So what you reinforce, where you stand, what you say, what you check, what you ignore, what you prioritize. So you are going to shape the culture through your presence, not the pressure of your presence, right? But your presence. So why do these questions actually matter? I think one of the things is as our current state of public education, we are always operating in crisis mode. And so this process, asking these questions, will allow you to pause, intentional pauses, so that you can carve out the time to gather your data and reflect on how to move for the upcoming week. So you're setting the intention on the Sunday or maybe the Friday or the end of the week, reviewing your data to see what pivots you need to make for the next week. Okay. So these aren't operational questions, right? These are leadership identity questions. So they're going to force you to protect something, correct something, and project something. And that's the secret to a leadership week that works. Consistency is key. It's not going to work if you're not consistent. Okay. Make sure that I'm hoping that you're using your Clarity and Confidence Guide to jot down some of this information. And I'm really excited to hear how you are going to use these 3 questions to help you think through your week again. Okay, so just so that we're clear, I want to go back to the questions. So the first question is, what are you protecting this week? The second question is, where did your team drift last week? And then the third question is, what message will the building feel by lunch? Okay. These questions matter. Carve out the time to think about these. That's what leadership is. You shouldn't be moving on 100% of the time. It's not sustainable. So January 1st is a perfect time for you to do a reset. I know as a school leader, I did a reset with my leadership team, and we had, I would remove them from the building and we would connect to make sure that we were on the same page for the second half of the school year. So January is the only time the entire building is open to a rhythm reset, right? That's usually when mid-years happen and all those things. You're looking at data like, okay, this is how I did from the beginning of the year to now. What changes do I need to make, either as a teacher or a coach, a counselor, or whatever, or a principal, whatever your role is in the building, right? So this is a perfect window. So staff, this reset window is staff. It provides you time and space to reset structure for staff, right? To reset the norms for students, to reset the communication to families, to reset the change that you need to, have. Okay. And not only reset, but these are things that your staff, your students, your families are expecting. They're expecting that from you. So, attention, habits, expectations, rhythms, all of those things need to be reset in January. And I'm really excited because this is when the new system that I'm developing is dropping January 1st, right? It's the perfect time for you to hop onto that. So it's not a new task. It's a way to build your Mondays that will hold, right? To help remind you of how to do that. Okay. So a leadership week that works isn't born from like hustling. Again, not sustainable. It's born from a Monday that leads on purpose. Strong leaders don't survive Mondays, they shape them, right? Until next week, I want you to keep leading beyond limits and have a great evening.